finish my drink. You feel
My
me? I'm
cucumber
faded.
margarita just
Feeling X-rated.
This nigga said his cucumber margarita. That's crazy.
Yeah, cucumber margarita. I ain't gonna lie to you. He made them
That shit
bitches at
was
the Halloween
zesty
party.
as hell, bro. That
Salty
shit was,
than the motherfucker.
bro, this nigga made
it's
this.
2022. Come on.
He made this zesty.
Come on.
Every time I get drunk with Ben, I see some type of drink I ain't never seen
Nah, Rod
before.
ain't never stalled us out.
Bro,
We
you
not
feel
finna
me? Every
stall him
time
out.
we get drunk, this nigga, it be
Rod
some
ain't
liquid
never
you
started.
never
This
bought
nigga
ever.
Rod made the most zestiest cucumber.
Where did you find this recipe?
It was a cucumber Arnold Palmer. That's
Bro, hey, come on.
a cucumber half and half.
I'm like, bro, this the
Nigga made a
most,
cucumber pina
this
colada.
the most zestiest, sassiest fucking drink
a pina
I ever
cucumber.
had. That shit had a bite to it. It was like, you had to make that noise.
Like a little crunch and shit, a little
I'm trying to tell
refreshing.
y'all, you know what I'm saying? Look, you know, as
You
you
get
get
drunk
older,
different
you
when you
got
get
you got to
low.
change it up a little bit. You feel me? You got to do the tea hibiscus.
Light skin
You
nigga.
feel me?
Yeah, zest. Just all
Ginger
this
shot
zest.
with a little Patron and shit.
All
You
this
feel me?
zest.
You got to do that.
Niggas got to make his margaritas, and he got to have an umbrella in all of his cups. That's the only way he can
Feel
drink
me? A
his.
little garnish. You feel me? I've been having my baby salt my rim. You feel me? It's been nice.
Now here you go. Here you go. I ain't going for that.
I can only do so much. I'm gonna only tell you once. I'm not gonna tell you twice.
Right off mother.
If you get 4 different kinds of juices, your glass still full. You feel me? So
We here. We on your ass. You feel me?
You know what? I'll start it off like this. Right off mother.
hey baby, this is exclusive. Hey baby, this is exclusive. Hey baby, this is exclusive.
Right off mother.
It was a nice piece of work.
Yeah, I got stripes, but fuck Adidas, nigga. I
You know
felt
what I'm saying?
that. Right, I
Lil-
felt that.
Lil Yachty showed
I spun
up.
that shit too. I spun that shit a few times back, turned it up.
I felt that shit too.
I felt that shit too. I can't even hold you. I felt that shit too. I was like, hey, you know what? This nigga been tripping. Fuck him. Fuck Adidas. Fuck Adidas. You know what I'm saying? But I really felt like, you know, Lil Yachty and Lil Baby really showed them and did their thing on this
Man,
album.
get the fuck out of here, man. Don't bring that to the pod. Don't bring that to the pod.
Hey,
man.
just do your research and I'm gonna just
Bro,
leave
they
it
was
at
in the
that.
studio for anyways, man. Speaking of Kanye, speaking of Ye, he has been tripping lately. And
showing his
apparently
fucking ass.
Kyrie, if you know, but I have been seeing motherfuckers say I stand with Kyrie, but we still gonna talk about him. It is what it is.
I'm not standing with none of that shit, bro. Shut your ass up. Okay, you thought the earth was flat. It is clear that you need to go play basketball and just play basketball. You are not one of the niggas that we need to be an activist, okay?
You said it's someone else we can choose.
Right.
There is someone else we can choose. Nah, I will
We have
say
That's
that.
how I feel about Kanye, bro. Like he not the person to be presenting some of this information he's trying to present.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, he just not presenting it the right way.
Just because you got $1 billion don't mean that you the one to present this information and you gonna do it the right way, bro.
Like I just don't consider Kanye a credible source to me. I'm a grown fucking man. You know, I went to school too. It's just ways I analyze information. And the way I analyze that information, I just don't agree with most of it.
So it's safe to say y'all disagree with some of the sentiment that Kanye, or all of it. I'll let y'all dictate how much
I
y'all
disagree with the
with
vast majority of what he said
on Drink Champ.
on Drink Champs.
Okay. Which portion? I'll ask you first and then we'll go to Nino.
Specifically, the George Floyd sentiments really just peeved me off. You know, suggesting that Derek Chauvin didn't kill this man and he's not a product of police brutality. It really just rubs me the wrong way because I protested, you feel me, when all that went down.
Did you feel like he was saying that maybe you protested for no reason?
It's
you
just-
and millions of other black people, I might add as well.
It's just blatantly disrespectful. But the thing about the blatant disrespect is it's on brand to Kanye's current character. You know, we have seen him say very, very, very false things about Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of fucking saying them. You know, remember when he put the red MAGA hat on? You know, it's just pattern behavior of me not been fucking with Kanye for a long time. And it's like, eventually we got to draw the fucking line. I'm tired of hearing this shit. It's really, really, really annoying me. I'm just not happy with what I'm hearing. Because why would he do this? Yeah. What's his angle? What do you gain from pushing some of these narratives? Why are you perpetuating this rhetoric, you know? Because he talked about how he loved Trump. And he still want to run for candidate of the presidency, even though he still loved Trump and we have to run against him. So it's like, if this is a potential presidential candidate, I'm worried. I'm very worried.
Well, you know, the House GOP, you know what I'm saying, did make a tweet that said Kanye, Elon, Trump. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine those being the people?
I would really
the country.
dislike
Elon Musk.
that infrastructure.
That would be fucking nuts.
I would really have a disdain.
Someone who doesn't
for
believe
that
in
conglomerate
unions running our country. Someone who wants unions completely.
Well, Nino, slow your roll. I know you're talking about Captain Elon, but slow your roll. We'll get to Elon in a second. Matter of fact, brother, how do you feel about what Kanye has said on Drink Champs and the other interviews? I know we've watched a few. I forgot. I don't know if everyone else has seen the other
I watched
crazy ass interviews that man has done, but he did a few in that little time span. How do you feel about it? What do you agree with or don't?
I'm a firm believer that just because somebody got money don't mean that they right.
Absolutely.
We've known for a very, very long time that Kanye is musically gifted, but he does suffer with some mental health issues. He's said it himself. And this looks like somebody who is on a tear right now. With that being said, there were some overall points that I see he was trying to make, but he didn't present them in the right way. So I can't stand with him on that basis alone.
Agreed.
You know, like talking about how money is distributed in America, talking about some of the socioeconomics. He was trying to get to some of these things, but the way he got there was just so out fucking landish that it's like,
we can't even cash him out on it.
I can't even stand with you. So bro's having a breakdown right now. That's what this looks like.
We just need to get him the fuck off the camera. You feel me? I'm not gonna say people need to necessarily drug him up, but medication is supposed to be, you know.
So y'all
helpful.
feel like he's saying this stuff because he's bipolar. You guys are going with that out for him.
I don't know what the fuck's going on with
and you
Kanye
can go
West.
with that out for him.
I honestly am. Every time he's had a major event happen in his life, something that's causes a lot of stress, he lashes out, and it's always done publicly.
And in this particular situation, it does have to do with his kids. You know, he's technically going at, you know, the Kardashians because the media, you know, he's been talking about E and keeping up with the Kardashians for a very long time, you know. So if their powers that be, you know, like the editors of the staff, you know, like the people on the show, he talked about his trainer with the screenshots and shit, you know, when he got put into the damn straight jacket damn near, you know, so.
Well, let me add this. I don't necessarily disagree with y'all that he is a man under a lot of stress for whatever reason. However, does that give him
absolutely not,
you know, the right to come at black people? Because that's what he did. I mean, no. if you want to discuss the Jew stuff, we can do that for forever. Although he was wrong, and
he has polarized a bunch of different groups.
Fuck that.
No,
he polarized us.
Thank you.
I've been seeing people say, "How come Kanye hasn't been canceled when he said this stuff about black people?" Because of this shit right here.
We've been not fucking with Ye. You feel me?
I would not say there's a whole bunch of black folks fucking with Ye.
There are a lot of people our age and older and younger who are agreeing with a lot of the shit that he's saying. And to me, it's like everyone's focusing on all of this gray area and all this smoke screen shit, because that's all this really is. Everyone's focusing on this, and they're missing the overall. They're missing what's happening right in front of them, like your midterm election being right around the fucking corner.
We will get.
But I'm not going to.
We will get to that. Slow us down. Slow us down.
Too much.
Slow us down.
But I think that's really the issue, is that people are so obsessed with the smoke screens that they're missing what's actually important. And Kanye is under a lot of stress, but he lives in Hollywood. He's of that Hollywood lifestyle. You know, people in Hollywood are often
influential themselves.
They're influential, and it's partially because people make money off of their name. So people make money off of catching him doing crazy shit and posting it on. I'm only saying that to say that if Kanye if he was just a regular nigga saying some of this shit, we would say he was fucking batshit crazy. But because it's coming out of Kanye West's mouth, people are trying to justify a lot of it, and I just don't get that.
Not necessarily. We talked about this the other day. Some of the people making TikToks, Facebook posts, and Twitter posts are not Kanye West.
Facts.
The main people who've been going out and trying to give you some of these, you know, whatever they are, you know, it's up for people to decide, you know, are not Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter who says some of these things sometimes because it's said so much. There's so much misinformation about these things. You know, Kanye stamped it, of course, but, you know, it's a million other niggas saying it as well.
And that's why I feel like you got to know who you're dealing with. You know, in the context of the content he talked about on the Drink Champs episode, going back to the George Floyd shit, you know, that narrative he's pushing is rooted in something, you know, we know Candace Owens is really pushing. We know Kanye's been really, really, really buddy with Candace Owens lately. I tell a lot of my black friends, do you know who Candace Owens is? Like, did you know, like, she's over there with, like, Herschel Walker, Terry Crews now? Like, do you know what that means in the big grand scheme of the picture? And some of them didn't. So it's
she's a conservative activist.
Yeah, so I mean,
which is a hell of a term for someone black.
So if you could please shed some light on what that means, because I mean, you know, there's a connotation about black Republicans in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you would mind elaborating on their stances.
So a lot of black Republicans feel like, you know, black people are where they're at due to the decisions that they've made, not due to systemic oppression. They feel opposite of that. Candace Owens is not going to tell you that she was oppressed. She does not feel that way. Even though measures to all the things that have helped other black people have helped Candace Owens, she does not feel like that we are oppressed and that we need any of these things. Candace Owens is an election denier. She is someone who said that George Floyd was killed by fentanyl and not Derek Chauvin, and Derek Chauvin should be an innocent man, and that all of you guys marched for no reason. You guys marched because the media told you to. Actually, that was her opinion.
To be specific.
To be specific. To be really specific. The media made all of us tap dance to a narrative that was not true.
That's what Candace Owens is. That's the narrative she's pushing.
She made a documentary, not a narrative. She's made a documentary that Kanye referenced on Drink Champs and on 3 other interviews that he did, trying to persuade people that George Floyd was killed by fentanyl. That comes directly from Candace Owens' documentary.
And she's an avid Trump supporter.
She is a conservative activist.
So whatever's conservative, she's there.
She is a far-right activist. When you think of far-right agendas, Candace Owens is probably going to support a lot of them.
Yeah. Facts.
You know, if you think Herschel Walker is a coon, you'll think Candace Owens is a coon. If you thought Big Black Terry Crews is a coon, you'll definitely think Candace Owens is a coon. But Candace Owens has a lot more influence than any of those people have.
Facts.
So you got to know who you're dealing with. You feel me? We're telling y'all about Candace Owens because you need to understand that she's the one putting the battery in Kanye West's back.
But these are white think tanks. This is not a when I say conservative, this is not a conservative black think tank Candace Owens is gathering this from. Candace Owens is gathering this from white conservative think tanks and then feeding it to black people. She's been on DJ Academics. You can go see her there. She's been on a few. You're starting to see her more now.
Yeah.
Right? Because more people are starting to think she's in the middle. She's not in the middle. She is a conservative activist who is gaining all of her information from right-wing think tanks. They thought George Floyd was a drug addict, right? That's a right-wing think tank point. And she made a documentary stating just that.
Perpetuating that rhetoric.
Perpetuating that narrative. Pushing that narrative. And Kanye believed it and fed it to us.
Yeah, I think this kind of ties back into where you get your information from. Like, if you aren't we are three guys in here that we know we'll go look some shit up in a heartbeat. We'll actually Google some shit and pull out these fucking these $1,400 fucking phones that you pay $50 a month for, or that you pay outright cash for, but you don't use to actually find out any real information. You're getting your information from Twitter, from Snapchat, from fucking Facebook, from Instagram, and then you're going and you're spewing these unchecked facts to people like you've really done your research and you're helping spread misinformation. That's really sort of been the issue. Is people don't know how to look shit up anymore. People won't look shit up anymore. They don't see the need.
Reading comprehension is very important, but so is hearing comprehension. You feel me? A lot of times people just assume Kanye West is a credible source, due to the fact that we've let him speak out on so many things in the past. People don't really bother fact-checking certain sources. They treat Kanye West like he's NBC or, like MSN, and that's really the root of the issue.
But why is that, though?
Because, some of these people just aren't thorough. Like, at the end of the day, you need to be able to digest content a certain way.
Yeah,
There's an ignorance and a bliss, like.
People in our generation especially have been taught, due to social media and other things, music, you name it, not it's a whole bunch of things, to not trust the media.
Yeah.
You have been taught to not trust what you read in the newspaper. You have been taught not to trust what you see on TV. And when you are going off of that basis, then you can be fed anything. If you cannot trust your local news station, who is literally driving a fucking van around all day, around where you live,
gathering stories,
covering stories around you, then you're going to be able to believe anything, especially someone like Kanye, especially like someone from these bot pages, you name it.
But I have mixed feelings on that, because there have been instances of, and we do know of, news channels that may have a local station, but they are pushing a conservative narrative, or they are pushing a certain sort of narrative that is not beneficial for everyone. And
True.
That we do have to take into account that those sort of people may also try and influence the way that they portray some media a certain way. So I'm not like,
True.
when it comes to like news and things of that nature, I somewhat understand, but understanding that you can go and fact check some of these things at a place like Google Scholar, or on some actual, on a .org or a .gov website, somewhere where we know this has been fact checked more than one time. True. And then we can compile from there. But just going off of just anything that you see does not. That's just.
And you are right. A station like Fox or Newsmax, in my opinion, would put a different spin on actual news. However, they are covering news. If there is a shooting, a school shooting, they'll cover it. Now, they're not going to advocate for gun control in that coverage, but you'll get coverage. When there's a hurricane, they're not going to be advocating for global warming measures, but they'll still get coverage. We've been taught literally, right? When the hurricane went through Texas, right?
Yeah.
And ravaged that, people said that was man-made.
That was a conspiracy being
that it was
around.
made by FEMA.
I just didn't understand that. Like, why would...
Sounds crazy.
Sounds nuts.
I hear a lot of that talk. A lot of people believe that the weather is controlled by a certain country or by a group of countries. And
it's nuts. It's batshit crazy. It's batshit crazy.
We're gonna do a conspiracy pod one day.
I would need to need to have a science behind some shit like that, bro. Like, how do you even
people who don't have a high school education will think that they'll be able to explain that to you.
Even motherfuckers who didn't.
And I hate to have
study
to say
anything
that, but
about
that's
the weather.
who's doing a lot of talking on social media is people who aren't educated.
So then, that's meteorology. It's a lot of non-meteorologists assuming somebody controls the weather. But that's the thing about not being a meteorologist.
Like a meteorologist, bro, we all learned what an ecosystem is and how our ecosystem works.
Condensation.
And we learned how
Precipitation.
our whole system flows. So if that's the case, how the fuck can you say someone is out here controlling the weather? We can't create, I'm not going to get into it, but we can't create water. So how the fuck is niggas creating clouds and creating fucking landstorm or tsunamis. It just don't make sense. It's fucking batshit crazy. How are people? So I think that takes us back to if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Because if you don't
know shit.
If you don't know shit, of course you're gonna think everything is the truth.
If you knew better, you do better.
But it's tough. I mean, what do you tell people who are our age who have been on social media and who have been exposed to this constant stuff of, hey, don't believe this. Hey, don't believe that. Hey, what you're seeing isn't actually happening.
Because some of these people dove down a rabbit hole
controlled
already.
By somebody else. It's actually this, that, and that. It's just like, how do you combat these things? That's why it's easy for someone like
tough,
Kanye
bro.
to come in and do this.
Ignorance is bliss. You know, a lot of these people, they just don't fact check. They just don't, think critically. They're not going to use their resources.
Yeah, at this point, it's too late for us.
Yeah, like some of these people, like we can't psychologize everybody because at the end of the day, we finna turn 27. We grown ass men.
It's too late for
us. Our frontal lobe formed. Like some of these people set in their ways and they digest information the way they choose to and they act the way they choose to. Whether it be, positive or detrimental, they just like doing what they like to do. Which is bullshit. It's a terrible fucking cop-out. But some of these people just don't have the self-awareness or the intelligence to fucking change their stance, Some people literally just don't know how to fucking analyze information.
That's tough. These are your voting peers.
Yeah, it's tough, bro. So, we the adults now, bro. They always
you're as strong as your weakest
who the
link.
adults, who the pastors. I don't know. Who gonna be the politicians? I don't know. Who gonna be the teachers? I don't fucking know, bro. Who gonna be the engineers? I don't fucking know. Because these niggas ain't thorough to me. Yeah. Niggas ain't really on their shit.
Well, I mean,
it does take a certain sort of advocating. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's the education system involved. You feel me? We got to be able to try to get some of these Negroes back.
Yeah, good luck. More of them are becoming conservative. More of us are becoming conservative due to the stuff that we're being exposed on social media. When I say more of us, I mean black people.
Why is that?
Because you're being told every single day that
you're an individual,
that Democrats haven't done anything for you, and that you should rethink your whole voting position right away and vote for somebody else.
And just an easy beat to that is how many Republicans do you know tell you that their grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents were all Republicans?
We're all conservative. We're a conservative family.
Most of them
have been.
That's a proud thing.
We've been a conservative family for 6 generations.
Proud conservatives.
On the blind side, you feel me? They said they have a black son before they met a Democrat.
What's going on?
On the blind side, you feel me? Leanne Toohey now. They was like, who would have thought we'd have a black son before we met a Democrat? I swear to God, it's a movie line. Motherfuckers deep rooted in this Republican shit.
Deep rooted
in this conservative shit.
Deep rooted.
Some of this shit is from the Bible Belt.
A lot of it's from the Bible Belt, Ocho, but you told me, I can't do it because you're going to say I'm hating on Christians, so I ain't going to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is a tough thing.
I mean, Kanye Christian too. At the end of the day, everybody wearing their jersey, doing the wrong shit for the team.
He was definitely repping that Bible Belt shit when he went up. He did that drink tip shit. I'm like, oh yeah,
that shit crazy.
That sounds like someone from motherfucking
from Illinois,
or motherfucking. Well, don't Chicago. Do my state like that. No. Don't never do that. That sounds like someone from your backward ass state.
Definitely from Chicago. Don't do that.
Niggas definitely from motherfucking.
That's y'all man's.
Kansas City,
that's
Missouri.
Y'all man's from motherfucking.
You like y'all know none of the cities in your backward ass state because y'all know y'all backward. Yeah, that's what it got.
Huckabee, Missouri.
Huckabee, Missouri.
I know y'all not talking. This nigga Kanye about from McKendree, Illinois.
Stop.
Stop. He from Champaign, Illinois.
Look at that. Hey, come on.
Don't do the pain like that, boy. Shout out to the pain,
y'all trying
man.
to just throw him on.
Shout out to Obama.
He been claiming the shot since he came out. You know what I'm saying? This is the sort of niggas that y'all create.
We don't know what kind of niggas.
Chicago is one of the most liberal cities out there. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened to Kanye, but that's because he was probably exposed to all this rhetoric of you've been a liberal all your life, and what has it gotten doing your people? And all of us have said, you know what? You're right.
Fuck them.
We're going to now vote with you now.
And that's just so dumb because if you look it up, it tells you it's gotten us a whole fucking lot.
But that's a hard thing to do, Malik. That's a hard thing to go back and look up when you have all of these people telling you, hey,
so is it better to believe word of mouth or is it better to believe hard cold facts? Because in today's world,
I think both.
in today's world, it seems that people take one more than the other. And is there a happy medium in the two? Because right now there is no happy medium. Either a lot of us either are very, very based in facts, or a lot of people are based in word of mouth and what they heard and what they feel. So how do you find the happy medium?
There is a happy medium, but, you know, like we say, a lot of people are not using it. So I'm always relying on cold, hard facts, you know, statistics, you know. I like history a lot.
But that's not a happy medium. You're relying on something.
But what I'm about to say is, you know, like sometimes some of these numbers involve, you know, demographics. So if it involves a certain demographic, I rely on character reference. So, you know, we're always talking about, you know, like Christians and stuff like that. We can blame big picture the Christians for everything. But I'm always like, okay, Ben, how many wicked ass Christians do you know in real life?
I know some.
But that could be the same thing because when you go by character reference.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's how I digest information. That's my happy medium.
Or some races, I should say, not even white people, have some terrible character reference when it comes to black people, and they should not judge us based off of that.
Everything is based on context. You know, you always got to understand the source of information.
Judge us based off of the facts.
Like you can't using character as a reference as far as for a mass sort of study, you can't do, because everybody is different in their own characteristics. So all three of us, we may all be black, but we are completely different in our characteristics, our mannerisms. So you can't use that to base your overall hardcore truth. Now, if we were saying you talk with 4 or 5, 6 motherfuckers and they all kind of gave you the same answer, I'll be like, okay, well now we can work with this.
That's what I'm talking about. You
now
know?
We may be somewhere.
It depends on the sample size.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, it depends on the sample size. You know, like when it comes down to the character reference, if you have, let's say, Ben grew up in church, he knows a lot of good, healthy, upstanding Christians in the community. He now has a positive reference that would kind of, you know, compete with the cold hard facts of the fallacies and the difficulties and the motherfucking, you know, mistreatments. All the
it may
problems.
compete with what they would call maybe media narrative. But in that case, which one would more
all the
likely
problems
be
that
true?
occur, you know.
Yeah, like and that I think that's the biggest question. Is
We, you know, it's relativity.
your point. Yes, your
Cultural relativism.
Yes, your circle may have you may have experienced a certain sort of love from a certain sort of experience from somewhere, but that doesn't mean that the overall general census is that way.
Which is an availability bias.
And you have to take that into account, because if you don't, you end up agreeing with some of this far right shit, because you're saying, well, you know what, I'm not taking into account everything that goes into some of this shit. Like everything that goes into voting to
it's
be
a heuristic.
Republican.
Go ahead, Nino.
When you're voting Republican and you're taking away infrastructure rules and you're changing your tax law, so now your community, which is already impoverished, now goes deeper into the hole. You're not thinking about the fact that public school will damn near have no funding and you'll have to pay to send your kids to school.
Your public school first, by the way. You're one first.
You know what I'm saying? Like these are the sort of things that you aren't taking into account because you don't understand everything that comes with voting this way or making some of these decisions. So I think that's why it comes back to overall.
That was great.
I mean, it happens a lot where people will do something, and even in our lives, you know, as young men, you'll make a decision, and it's like, damn, after you make that decision, you're like, damn, I didn't think it was going to take all of this. I didn't know it was going to come with all of this.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at the situation like, damn, I wish I could have did shit different or never did it at all. The same thing goes for voting and making life decisions. And a lot of people are saying, well, okay, I'm getting all of this information. Like you said, 7 people are telling me maybe I work at Charter and I work in a hardcore Republican part of Charter, and everyone's telling me, you know, maybe you should look into voting different. I've been told this 7 times, and I started doing research, and I'm finding some far right shit on the internet that backs what these people are saying, and it may not be fact, but you looked it up, and you're finding some of these things. I think it goes back to knowing your credible source, because then something like that could change your narrative, then could have you looking at things a certain sort of way. So I think understanding what comes with conservatism, because that's really what this overall point is to kind of talk about what conservatism is and understanding what some of the I always can't never say this word right. Like what the conservatists. No, I can't never get that shit right, bro.
Conservatives. It's just
conservatives. Thank you. It's a V. It's a fucking V, bro. Like, I always do that. The conservatives, because you was fucked up for us.
Yeah, because I was like, it is conservatives. Jay was like that. Right on, Ocho. Yes, sir.
You know, understanding what it means to be a conservative and what conservatives really believe if you're gonna align yourself with a lot of these far right people, because I know we don't like to say the lesser of two evils, but if I gotta pick a side, I'm gonna pick the side that overall will benefit me and my people in the long run. It's not just about me; it's me and them.
And you can agree with what Kanye said, but you know it's gonna be some shit that comes with that you got to defend. You know, if you gonna say that man right on Facebook, goddamn it, you got to elaborate on what the hell you right about. Are you really gonna co-sign on that shit he said about Planned Parenthood? Are you really gonna, you feel me, discredit the Holocaust for the sake of you liking some shoes and some music?
Ooh, well, nowadays, we're so polarized as a nation. I think you mentioned it earlier before Nino gave a good
He's
point.
polarized so many different groups of people.
Not even polarized about being, in the middle or trying to be central on some of these things. Our country is so pulled in two different directions. You honestly can't be in the middle.
Yeah.
We are now at the point to where you do have to pick a side. If
you
you want to agree with Kanye, then you have to go on that side, because that is going with something. There is no middle ground at this point in time.
With a lot of the rhetorics that are being pushed on the conservative side, you can't sort of just.
Kanye pushed a conservative narrative.
That
was not a centrist narrative. That wasn't a in the middle narrative. That was let me double down, a white conservative narrative that Kanye West brought to Drink Champs.
No cap. And
yes, he talked about his kids and whatnot, but everything else
was a white conservative narrative. And I think that's what I was saying is some of the rhetorics and some of the narratives being pushed out of the conservative party here in the last 10, 15 years. You can't necessarily, it's hard to be a centrist now. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in the time of having centrist blacks like Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, you know what I'm saying, where they voted Republican, but they were sort of in the middle. They believed that there are a lot of rights that black people need, but I do still understand some of this. I do still understand some of this conservative lifestyle
somehow.
To a certain,
somehow. But I'm not mad at Condoleezza or Colin. I'm not.
They were centrist, but
I'm not mad at them
because they did also do things. I know Colin.
It wasn't as extreme as it is today.
I know Colin Powell a little bit more than Condoleezza.
Used to be real politics.
They were a part of putting policy.
Candace Owens.
They wasn't getting Roe v. Wade revoked.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they were more they were more centrist. They were more neutral. So because they had this sort of neutralness about them, we aren't in that time anymore. Now, when you're a conservative, you're either a far right conservative or they're calling you a liberal.
Or rhino, yeah, which would be a liberal.
Yeah, they're calling you a liberal. That's just what it is. You know, they aren't giving out that centralist pass anymore.
People like Mitt Romney, for people who are following. People like Mitt Romney would be considered a rhino or a light Republican, a dire Republican, or a liberal. Yeah. That's what they would think. You wouldn't think he is a liberal because he's not. Mitt Romney is a conservative. But to the conservatives,
he liberal than a motherfucker.
He's liberal than a motherfucker.
Because he's not.
To the conservatives, he might as well be Barack.
No cap.
No cap.
No cap.
People like Dick Cheney and his daughter Liz Cheney, rhinos now. Because they went against Donald Trump and they wanted to, to hold him accountable for stealing our fucking country. Liz Cheney, I should say, not Dick, not the vice president.
I was so like
vampire.
I was like Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
I was like, damn.
But just think about it. If people like Dick Cheney are not considered conservative, that should tell you where the hell that party is going.
Yeah, we in some hot water.
They are going way right.
Cooking up, baby.
Far right.
Far right.
These motherfuckers crazy.
Extreme right.
Extreme right. And that's kind of what I was kind of starting to feel like in our generation, there is no more rhinos, I guess you could call them. That's a new term for me. I listen to what they call the ones that they don't like, because that's how they've gotten the Republican Party to go more right. Anybody who's not here on the right line is now a liberal.
That's what they did. They drew it right there. Hey, how conservative are you? If you ain't this conservative,
how deep is your love?
You're liberal. Liberal. They get liberal ass over there.
You can have a piece of my love.
What's in your pocket? 5 or some change? Get the fuck out. It's like what they say. It's like what they say. Get the fuck out. So that's what's going on. And you know, if you agree with Kanye, cool, but understand that came out of a right wing conservative think tank that for sure, 100%
extreme far right.
Does not care about black people. If you thought George Bush, if you love Kanye for saying George Bush didn't care about black people, let me tell you where he got that opinion from. They definitely don't like black people. They hate black people more than George Bush did. That's where Kanye got them damn opinions from.
Yeah, and that's why I'm upset in the motherfucker.
Far right.
That's why I'm befuddled.
It was a far right opinion.
That shit's really been grinding my goddamn.
We want to give him the pass because he mentioned
I ain't giving him no pass. We've been not passing ass.
I've always been a fan of him musically. You know what I'm saying? I've always known that he's had mental issues when it comes to dealing with the public. I will say there is always a negative connotation around anything Kanye does, but you added that you did that. But I'm
feeling bad for that.
It goes both ways. Like it's hard to.
You can't really feel bad for him. He down there and shot himself in the foot at this point.
Yeah, like, I don't feel bad for him. I'm understanding that it is also hard to change that narrative if you always doing fucking nut job shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you built this narrative of this, so. It's I don't know what to tell dude, bro. Like, I can't rock with that.
Y'all honestly think his mental illness is what's doing this to him?
Bro,
I think it's a culmination of shit. You feel me? Kanye's got a lot of shit going on. He's got internal shit.
I know some crazy
combined
niggas.
with external shit that's making a whole bunch of bullshit.
Let's think about what he did the last time one of his shorties left him. What did he do when Amber Rose left?
Started tweaking.
He did start tweaking. He did.
He got internal issues combined with external issues right now. You feel me? Of course, he's under stress dealing with Kardashians and his kids and shit. But all this Adidas ass, Gap ass,
and that's what I'm saying. Every time he has any sort of personal life stress, he then fucking wows out in the media. He says outlandish shit, says crazy shit, does crazy things, and everyone gives him this negative connotation. I'm just looking at this like, bro, this dude told you he had mental problems. Like, why are y'all so surprised by some of these things? If a regular motherfucker who we know had bipolar would get mad because they was having a bad day and say some crazy shit at someone who has bipolar family members, you just got to shrug that shit off. Like, bro, they was just having a bad day. They ain't mean none of that shit.
That's what we should be doing. We should just be disregarding everything he said on Drink Champs. Everything.
I agree.
Just throw it all out. He was having a bad day.
I agree.
He didn't mean it. He has apologized a few times. He did.
He came
and he even apologized to the Jewish community. I don't know if all y'all, the people been saying y'all, he's right. He did apologize.
A few times.
He did apologize. So I would hope that all the research that you guys are doing, you found that.
And that's what I mean, as in like, this man, like he had a bad day. Something. We don't know what could have happened before that. Pete Davidson could have texted him and said, you know what? That's why I was fucking your wife every Thursday for 6 months. Such. He walked in there like, you know what? Pete Davidson, I'm pissed today. He's fucking bipolar. Wow.
You say he was within his right for doing that?
You what?
I'm not saying he was within his right, but I'm just saying like.
So where did George Floyd shit come from?
Out his ass.
Candace Owens. No, it didn't. It didn't come out his ass. It came from his best friend Candace.
I think Candace been putting her face in there anyway. Like
you said Candace threw some time. I knew Candace probably did. I think
Candace been over there fucking.
He's buying. I don't know if he still is buying Parler because it's not going to be worth much now that fucking Elon is letting Donald back on Twitter and Facebook. So Parler's probably not gonna be worth that much, but he did try to buy it, or is looking to buy Parler.
Yeah,
which is a far right platform.
This is a bunch of bullshit.
There are no black Israelites on Parler. In case you guys were wondering. In case anyone who was watching the podcast,
they damn sure ain't no Parler.
There are no black Jews on Parler.
They ain't on.
You will not find them there.
No.
You will probably see people talking about killing Jews and hanging niggas on there.
But that just
and how the election is rigged, and how black people shouldn't be able to vote, and how we shouldn't be able to mail in our ballots, and how we shouldn't count all the votes.
Don't forget how the election has been stolen.
Well, Candace Owens, speaking of her, if you look at her tweet, today. What is today? Friday, November
Friday
the
the 4th.
4th. Friday the 4th. She had a
4
tweet
days.
today. She had a tweet today saying that elections should not take days to decide. Well, newsflash, every single election that you have ever been a part of has always taken days to decide.
It is 338 million people in this country.
So some of this shit just straight up ain't practical is what we telling y'all.
How
This
the
woman,
fuck you gonna
feel
count
me?
all them votes in one day? Let's just
Not
look
even
at
one day. The polls close at 8.
how the fuck
They
y'all gonna
want
do
the
this?
election. They want the
9,
results
10,
by 11.
12. Nigga,
You
that's
want
like
3
30 people
hours to
voting.
count
Let me count it.
368
Nobody's gonna
million
vote
votes.
for real.
Let me count it out again. 8 to 9, 9 to 10,
It's
10
a
to
setup.
11 to 12.
It's a setup. You know why it's a setup?
Y'all saying y'all want the election counted in 4 hours.
It's a
They
setup,
want
bruh.
the results by the
want
time
all
they
they
go to
motherfucking
bed.
votes
What
in
did Trump?
early.
What did Trump say? By the time they was going to bed, what he say? Stop counting the votes. That's what he said. Anything that gets counted now
they
shouldn't
gonna
be
vote
counted.
early. They
That's
been
what
wrote
that
that ballot
man
in.
literally said.
And that's asinine because people voted on voting day.
They were still counting those votes, you dumbasses. Not just the mail-in votes. They were still counting those.
The votes where somebody had to go and check off and you had to circle in that motherfucker real good. You know what I'm saying? You can't be outside the line. You got the little eraser. That motherfucker. Somebody was sitting there. Yo granny, yo auntie, Cindy.
Thank you, Lee.
I've been to the polls, bro.
Man, go ahead, talk to
it's
him,
a
Lee.
poll.
Go ahead, man. Now we
polling
preaching.
My polling
Now we
place is
preaching,
right
brother.
down the street from me. And when you understand how the system works, we are the ones counting the fucking votes. It's yo granny, it's yo auntie, it's Sally Mae, it's Linda Sue, it's motherfucking Reagan Lindsay. It's all of these motherfucking old ass people.
The
Most
fucking
of the time,
Gilmore
it's
Girls.
old people.
It is
who
mostly
are
old
sitting
people.
there
It is.
afterwards, and they are counting this bitch
All
one
the
at
damn
a time
Karens.
on how many motherfuckers voted for who. So how the fuck do you
And
expect?
it's a public service. People talk about public service.
They do this for free.
It's community
People
service.
don't get paid to do that.
Because who the fuck finna count these
You
votes?
don't get you get paid to go lobby for people.
Who finna count these votes?
I remember during the time of the Hillary Clinton election, and even after, there are often motherfuckers that will pay you like $20 an hour to go out and campaign for them. You get paid for campaigning. You get paid for campaigning, but you don't get paid for counting the fucking votes. And y'all want this shit to be done in a day? This is fucking
And not
asinine.
only that shit, people question, whenever you are questioning the election, understand who you're questioning. These people, this whole election thing came out of, again, a right-wing think tank because cities that had a predominantly black population decided that they were going to vote early, which was a good thing, right? And so whenever they were talking about some of these cities where these millions of votes came in, understand that they're talking about your black ass.
Talking about the black vote.
They're saying that your vote is what looks shady and that we shouldn't count your vote, not theirs. They're not saying that their vote got stolen or that their votes are in question. They're saying your vote is in question. That is the think tank that this shit is coming out of.
Come on.
That is, and Candace Owens is just someone. He's just many of the political conservatives that are out there.
It's just the tip
The
of the
entire
iceberg.
rhetoric,
But that's where it comes from.
and to sum it up, we have to. I would just feel like we didn't do our due diligence if we didn't explain why it's such a pull to separate the black vote and to divide the black vote. For the first time in 400, 500 something years, Georgia turned blue because of the black vote.
It wasn't been that long, like 20 years.
Okay.
But it was because of black people.
Okay.
You are
I
right.
thought
No,
it
and it
was
was
a long
fucking time.
And it was a long motherfucking time. No, you good.
I could have sworn it's been longer than 20 years. I may have been wrong, but that's all
Fuck
right.
the day.
That's
You
all
right.
That's
Go
all
ahead.
right. There has been a long
Stacey Abrams.
There's
we here.
been a long
Well-populated black
fucking
states and
time
people vote.
where Georgia was a hardcore Republican state, and because of the black vote, we were
gotta
able
vote.
to turn that we were able to
Cast your vote.
swing the shit out that state so much so it surprised the nation.
Swing the state.
So, Republicans, conservatives quickly understood that in order to beat the Democrats in this game that we call polls and voting and elections, in order to win this game, they needed to separate our vote and get us to rethink who we know for sure will help us, because then that will weaken the Democratic Party.
That was the easy one. What they really want to do is redistrict, right, and put the hood with the white folks, right? And so
you really don't got no vote.
Your vote will never matter because they're going to put you in with more white people, and what they want will always go.
Yep.
That's what redistricting means. And if you don't go out and vote on November 8th, let me tell you, Georgia will never turn blue again.
Ever. Ever.
Georgia will never turn blue again. They will never let Atlanta ever dictate how Georgia swings ever again if you do not show your ass up on November the 8th.
So what y'all want to do, man? What y'all gonna vote, man? Y'all gonna show up, man? Or y'all gonna let y'all motherfucking nieces and nephews and the cousins and your kids one day just get fucked over by the system because you was a lazy motherfucker?
Get fucked over hard.
And you ain't want to read and digest information the right way. It's all up to y'all, man. You feel me? If y'all really, really, really gonna tap in and get some of this motherfucking knowledge, Palace 35 gonna be here to lead the way. You know, we gonna give y'all all the information we can give y'all. We always gonna get y'all with some credible sources, you feel me? Some reliable content, you know. But we can't vote for you, goddammit. At the end of the day, you got to do that shit yourself. Just like you can't pray yourself into heaven, and your granny can't get you in there.
And we ain't pulling no punches. I'm not gonna tell you to go out and be in the middle. I'm not gonna. Well, we are.
Do the right fucking thing.
Do the right thing.
If you a black man, if you a black woman, do the right fucking thing, bro. It's a fucking agenda. At the end of the day, we need to be securing shit for our community. The best way to fucking do that is through education and politics.
It's to not fucking. That was easy. Don't fucking vote conservative. If you want to be able to have the hood ever swing an election, which it definitely fucking did in 2020.
We've done it once.
You need to make sure that you go and you put that vote down for a Democrat. Unfortunately, and it's not unfortunately, I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not pulling no fucking punches with you. The Conservative Party, since at least the Reagan era. Y'all may know a whole bunch of white people named Reagan. You know what I'm saying? And that's why. That party has never been for black people.
Ever.
And it never will be.
And it goes back further than that, if you want to be honest.
Not too much further, because then that's when it starts to get dicey, and then we can start to talk about history. But for a fact, when Reagan was in office, that modern conservative Republican Party definitely did not like black people, and they're never coming back. There is never going to be a policy that is going to come out of one of those think tanks
that are beneficial,
that is going to help someone black, let alone, which I always find funny, the hood. Those conservatives are not thinking about what's going on in the hood. Matter of fact, that's the issue.
They ain't thinking
that's one of the talking points. Look at all the crime going on amongst these niggas. This is why we need more police. That's where it comes from. They ain't talking about their communities.
Nope.
What they say whenever talking about why we need more policing, what are you saying? Look at Chicago. Who's in Chicago?
They say look at the south side of Chicago specifically.
It ain't Marge and Lillian.
Hold on, look at this shit again. Look at this.
What? God damn it.
I had to switch the camera for niggas.
Some of these things, it's just like when you listen, it's like, okay, so if you're black and you're listening to these things, it's like, so you not realize who they're talking about?
You're not reading between the lines that they talking about your black ass and your people.
They never mentioned a small city in Connecticut.
When they're talking about rioters and looters, they are never talking about fucking. They talking
these motherfucking insurgents that come in our house.
Yeah. They ain't never talking about niggas. They ain't never talking about white people in Idaho. They never talking about an Ohioan white man. That's not who they talking about. They talking about our black asses. They talking about brown people.
They did call the January 6th people rioters, even though that was a group of insurgents. There
was some big insurgents.
If there was ever a group that didn't be called insurgents,
it's their asses, bro. They Jimmy asses went up in there, kicked down the door, pissed off,
jumping through the window and shit,
shit on the floor, pissed on the floor.
And bro, that's just so out of pocket, bro. Like who?
And that was the easy stuff. If they would have found a politician. They would have murdered politicians on that day.
They were trying to get them.
And that's a scary thought. That's a scary thought.
They would have murdered politicians on that day.
It would have been blood.
A group of insurgents. We call them what they should be called.
Crazy white people.
Domestic terrorists.
That's terrorists.
A group of domestic terrorists ran up on our motherfucking Capitol and proceeded to try and go in there and catch bodies and overthrow our entire democracy, which would have then crumpled our entire society.
Which, mind you, this entire democracy that has worked in their favor since the start of America. Since the start of America.
It was made for them. It was made for them.
I just don't get it.
It was made for them. That's just something that I don't get. Like, bro, like I don't understand how you can be a white American and be so against America. This country.
It was not every white American. It was not.
I'm not. It wasn't every white American, and that's why
it was the fucking Proud Boys. Because unfortunately,
but I'm saying
some of us was in there.
There was
some Latinos in there.
I don't understand.
There's a big Cuban population in Florida who's for Trump. You see Mexicans for Trump all the time. Hey, there's a whole bunch of minority groups who are voting for people who are not for minorities.
Why is that though?
Because they've never been.
Because they feel like they aren't talking about them either. They feel like
I don't know how. If your family came over across the border. When they're talking about stopping the border, how the fuck are they not talking about you?
Because they feel like they're here. They
feel like they're talking about. They don't want you here either. That's what you being here is why they're saying, "Hey, we need to close the border. Look at all of them. Do you see all of them here?
They took your jobs.
They took your jobs." That's what I never get this. When I see black, when I see black, I'm just like, do you understand
who you are really voting for?
You're the issue.
They're talking about you. They're talking about people that look like you and people who have descended from people that look like you. They ain't talking about Cindy.
Man, they're talking about Keith you directly.
Xander. They're talking about
motherfucking
the Marcuses and the Daquans and the Lopezes and the Hectors. That's who the fuck they're talking about.
Unfortunately, and we're not stereotyping nobody, but that's who they talking about.
Yeah, like I'm not. That's who they're talking about. Behind it. That's who they're talking about. They're talking about brown people. When you hear these narratives of rioters, looters, stealers. What's the other ones that they like? Fuck. It's one more where like I can't fucking think of it because we've been drinking.
And we gonna need to. And then it's probably whenever we watch, we're like, damn, we should have said that word too. But y'all know what the fuck we talking about when we said it.
The whole point is that they are pushing a specific narrative against people of color to try and eradicate our voice because the Democratic Party has given us a voice. When you look at the amount of bills passed for African American people and where they came from since we've been freed from slavery, the number is astronomically large for the Democratic Party.
The Republicans did free the slaves, and that is it. The Civil Rights Movement.
Abraham Lincoln did it. To be specific,
Abraham Lincoln did that.
And it was for money. If we want to really get into it, it was a money thing. It goes a whole.
It was not a money thing.
It goes a whole lot. It goes a whole lot deeper. Like it did
help us out.
Everybody want to talk about why the fuck else this shit happened. At the end of the day, we benefited from that.
No, I'm just saying.
Abraham Lincoln, he did run on. I mean, it wasn't like it. I mean, it was in his platform. I mean, they do say it's like no. I mean, this was something that the country was actually looking at. That election was over slavery. So I mean, the whole Civil War was just something that was mounting up and was going to happen anyway.
Whether Abraham had done it or not, that was going to happen soon.
Abraham or people who were on Abraham's, that was their platform. They had won, and that's what they did, causing a civil war. But they knew that's what was going to happen.
But the reason I brought up the why behind it is because people often try and use that. Well, maybe I should vote Republican because they freed the slaves. But you have to when you look at the why behind it, there was a monetary gain to a certain extent behind freeing the slaves and allowing them to be taxed and allowing America to have a better ask as a whole on how many people is here and who is working to do what. If you get what I'm saying.
You are correct, Nino. Fuck, you are correct, yes.
And I'll be trying not to take niggas too deep down in there, but
okay, yes. Yes, America did it for a whole bunch of reasons that were not to benefit black people.
It still benefited us.
It benefited us.
And I'm never gonna have a problem with it. And I'm saying all of that to say, I don't give a fuck if they did free us. What have they done for me lately? And they ain't done a goddamn thing. The Republican Party has done shit for black folk. They ain't did shit for us. They ain't cared about doing shit for us. If anything, they have went out of their way to wake up and fuck with us. That is their whole platform, damn near.
What time we got left? We got a few minutes. All right, I'm gonna give y'all this. Tip quick, big, right? Before Ronald Reagan got elected, right?
Yeah.
Right? Even before, we talk about Richard Nixon, right? The same thing came up with Donald Trump. The silent majority, right?
Yeah.
The silent majority is who the Republican Party now, that's who they serve, right? Yep. And when you speak about the silent majority, you are talking about the silent majority of white Americans that are still here and still feel a certain way about everyone else. The silent majority of people whose minds have not changed that much over time.
Silent majority that was wearing KKK masks.
AKA the low-key racist as fuck. That's what the silent majority means. Silent majority means like it's a live omission. I'm racist as fuck.
It's not even that. It's a silent majority of white folks who want the nation to be white again. It's not all racist. A lot of it is. Don't get me wrong. A lot of it is.
White supremacist undertones.
It's white supremacist undertones. I'm trying to lighten it up. But that's what the fuck it is. Y'all are right.
Yeah,
I'm bullshitting.
like,
I'm bullshitting y'all. Y'all are right.
Fucking damn it. White supremacist bullshit.
The simplest,
white supremacist rhetoric. White supremacist propaganda. White supremacist systemic. White supremacist systemic. White fucking racist. Systemic. White fucking racist. Systemic. White fucking racist. Systemic.